Hello, welcome to Freestyle Thoughts, a dance podcast. I'm your host, Anna, and this is episode 14. Today, as you may or may not know, it's a continuation of last week's episode. And listen, I said it last week and I will say it again. I had a very fun, I thought it was a fun conversation, at least. I had an enjoyable conversation with Justin, and I think what we said has some value, perhaps, or if not, it's good background noise. I do want to address this now, but similarly to last episode where we were name dropping a lot of people, we continued that in the second half of our conversation. So mind the beeps. So yeah, this part of the conversation, we discussed more of Justin's directing history and our thoughts on directing and that process in general. So please enjoy the episode.
I'm always amazed by how precise your memory is. Like it's so detailed. It's
It's
so
detailed for
detailed.
no reason. That's what
I
it is.
mean, someday those details will really help. Like you
Yeah, but
learn.
it's detailed like no one benefits by knowing that we were walking a street from Sephora.
Maybe if you're an author, you'd be like very good at this kind of stuff. You need to know that detail for like
I mean, yeah,
that
but you
level.
can make that stuff up.
Yeah, but like if you have the memory like that, I imagine like your imagination's probably as clear as that.
It's not.
Like, but like I don't know, my this is random, this is so tangential, but like if your recall of your memory is that good and you can see all the details like that, then surely like your imagination, like your mind's eye is probably as clear. It only makes sense to me.
I mean, I can only pull from reality though. Like I can very clearly see from my perspective that like when we were walking across the street from Sephora.
Right. Well, I think that's a gift. I think that's a gift. I'm sure that it will come in handy somewhere.
The only place it's come in handy is sometimes for like like I've been for, for this podcast like I've been able to make some like oh my god, it's been like I'm trying to make like an episode right about as much like that would take me about an hour to record. I start on my first topic, transition to my second topic. Halfway through my second topic, I go, this is going to take me 2 hours. I have to save the second
Uh-huh.
topic
Yeah.
because I can remember that much detail from like anecdotes, and then sometimes some stuff just comes back to me like it's bad.
Uh, but like you can predict that the conversation is gonna be a lot longer than what you allotted for it.
No, I can't predict that. That's the problem.
But when it comes up, you know that's how much detail is left because you remember all of it.
I
What you're
guess I
saying.
don't know. Let's just say that I intended this to be like within like the first 10 episodes, and right now it's looking like this episode that we're recording is going to be like episode 13.
Oh, yeah.
It's I don't know, man. It's been very
Great that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the recording of
Great.
this episode. Okay, I guess this sort of like this bleeds into like the previous stuff that we've been talking about. But oh wait, before I move on to that, do you prefer like the like filming or like performing in front of people? Just out of pure curiosity, because some people prefer filming.
Definitely in front of people.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I totally agree with you on that. Like the energy from the crowd.
Okay, that's not what I thought. Okay, good. So knowing that you prefer output versus process, maybe I don't know. Like thinking back to like, your that singular time I experienced Justin the director. I don't know. It's very interesting because I think you ran practice in a way that was beneficial to everyone. If that makes sense, like
Mm.
You were very mindful of the skills of your dancers, so you didn't feel the need to like over-explain some things to more experienced dancers, but then you also didn't necessarily under-explain it, I think, to those who were less experienced. And
I
like
see.
the one thing that I distinctly remember was like the way that you taught transitions for your formations. I remember like I was having a really bad day because I think I had to do like chug can certifications, and that was just awful. And I was
Right. You were the beer chug captain, right?
yeah, I was chug captain, and then I had to do chug can certification, and then I also had to like kind of break up with the guy I was seeing. It
Right.
was an awful day. And then I didn't eat a
Awful.
lot. It was awful. And so I come to your practice, and I remember just being like, oh my God, I can't. I can't. I just want to
Mm.
go home, but I have to be here. I can't. And this was like when you were teaching the formations for like the first time, I think. And this was like the one formation change that I just remember you teaching so vividly. It was the first formation change from our opening position into the ice skating part.
Oh, the jump.
Yeah.
I kind of remember this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do. Man, I can't even remember my own dance. It's
Yeah, you
crazy.
were like, you got to be at the spot in time for the jump. And I remember I was having like such a hard time. I had to like kind of like change some of the movements to get to that position in time. And I remember you were just like, you tried to explain it to me. I gave you the most vacant look. And then you're like, you know what? You have from this point to this point, you need to get from here to there. So figure it out. And then you moved on to like helping somebody else. And like in hindsight, that
Wait,
was
I said
actually,
that?
yeah.
Wait, what? That's so funny. Wait, what? I told you like okay, like I just gave you a large distance to cover, and I just said like figure it out.
Yeah, you did. And that was actually really
Wait,
helpful.
what? How is that helpful? That's literally not like that's the opposite of helpful.
No,
I
but see,
didn't
that's
give
the
you.
thing. I was a more experienced dancer. You were like, you can figure it out. I trust you. I'm going to move on to somebody who I'm going to use this time to help somebody where my explaining things would be more helpful. So you can figure it out,
Okay.
and I'm going to move on. And I remember being like, why would you do this to me at the time? But in hindsight, that's actually very good.
Oh my gosh. Like in my hindsight, that sounds like given the context of your day, that sounded pretty terrible.
I mean, it was pretty awful within the context of my day, but like if I'd had a less awful day, it would not have been, it would have been great.
I see. Anyway, I offer you. I want to say sorry about that. I didn't
No, but
really
I think
know.
I should like apologize for my behavior because I was just like I was having it was a bad day, Justin. It was a very bad day.
Mhm. No, you're good.
I guess maybe whether you were aware of it or not, I think you were very mindful of like dealing with like the skill gap of like of the dancers that you had to deal with. Like
Mhm.
like if you gave that to like one of like the first years who were new to basic and dancing, just to figure it out, that would have been the least helpful thing you probably could have said to them. But but like you for me at that time, I just needed time to figure out how to get from point A to point B, and then the way that you were breaking it down was not making sense. So your resolve just to say, you know what, you will figure it out. Just get here at this point.
It sounds so funny. Wow. That that clashes with the mental image of how I was at that time, which
Really
was very like yeah, which was like very like harried, like like very like rushed, like super anxious, like in my head, like running around all over the place, kind of like trying to get everything working image in my head, and that decision that like you described right there sounded pretty decisive, which is a contrast because I imagine myself as pretty indecisive and anxious. Hmm.
interesting.
Anyway,
I mean, like
yeah,
you did spend a little time trying to explain to me how you envisioned me getting there, and then you just kind of gave up on that, which is smart. Like directors have to be flexible.
so funny. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind when hopefully I direct in Cypher. We'll see.
I mean, I hope I probably won't be there for Cypher this year.
Yeah, okay. Are you busy that time?
No, I just want to be back for graduation instead.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah,
Hey, it's like
yeah.
the
Why don't you stay
children,
there?
huh?
Why don't you just stay there from Cypher for like 3 months? Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Why don't you just put your whole life on pause so you can, enjoy our performance? I'm
I'll see the videos. Victor's
just
gonna be there,
kidding.
so I'll see the videos.
Gotcha. But yeah.
Yeah, also it's like I was there for in November, obviously, and
Yeah.
I saw some of the RDT dances, and I just don't recognize a lot of the children, and I'm just like, you know what, I if I have one trip to spend in the spring, I would rather spend it on graduation than
Makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's fair.
I want to see the children graduate.
Yes. Yes.
I know
Yes. Hmm.
I've talked to and I've talked to other people, and I know
Mm.
that if you decide to direct again before you graduate, people will be absolutely thrilled. Like it's confirmed.
Oh,
They told me that they would be
that's
very
very
happy
sweet.
if you
That's very
directed.
sweet.
That's because you set a very good precedent the first time you directed, which is not super common.
I'm very glad.
Like
Thank you for conveying that to me.
like you were given a very bad hand when you like your first time directing. Uh,
Mhm.
your dance was not chosen initially for Cypher. Then we got Condolence Boba. That's what, and
Dolan's boba. That was the most delicious boba I've ever had.
you had Tara milk
It's
tea
great. You remember that?
from Gongcha,
Oh gosh, dang.
and you're also wearing a red shirt.
Jesus, your details are crazy.
Um, and then you struggled to do the boba poke in my car.
Is it where it kind of spilled?
You didn't spill it. It
Oh,
just
this is a drilling thing, right? It was a drilling thing.
what?
Was this a drilling thing, like spitting and then sucking? Wait, this sounds so bad. We're cutting this, right?
All I'm saying is that I didn't say it this time.
No, but like, oh, how else do you describe it?
You
Like
made
you're
fun of me when I
spitting the
described it like
straw.
that.
I know it's so memeable. I can't believe I walked into it. Like I kind of knew I was walking into it, but like, dang,
But see, there's no other way to describe it.
yeah, there really is not. Anyway, okay. What's the next topic?
Um.
Sorry, not the next topic. The current
Oh, what
topic
my point
or
was.
direct. Yeah,
um. Oh yeah. So I was trying to give context on Treasure Cash
got
Cash
it.
remix.
Wait, so then what exactly, like, I know you already described one aspect. I'm just confused. Like, I don't remember my dance being anything special in terms of how I directed it, because
Oh
like
no,
everyone else did like a fine job. Like I was just confused. Like so I know that like next time I know what actually like I should keep. Like I don't even know like what was good about the dance,
my
like the
greatest
way that I directed, besides the way that like conforming to different skill levels and stuff like that.
my greatest tip to you is just be yourself while you're directing, because that was basically your rule of thumb when you were directing the first time, and it worked.
Oh, what? But most people are themselves when they're directing, right?
Not
Huh.
always. And
Not
sometimes
always.
being like your social self is not the best situation for being your director self. But for you, it worked. So
I see.
the only tip that I would give you is okay, this is actually a fun little anecdote.
Mm.
So, you know how you would have to connect your computer to the sound system?
Yeah.
For some reason, like you had like your notifications on your computer
Hello.
very like
Oh.
on, and Bruno Mars is blasting the Cash Cash remix, and then like all of a sudden we just hear like this Discord noise like repeatedly. The first few times, like I remember thinking, oh, it's whatever, that it'd be like that, and then it just kept on happening.
Oh.
It was fun because you were like super content just to like pretend like it never happened, which is fair. But I think someone mentioned it to you, then got like a little bit embarrassed, but it was kind of funny.
I see.
Like that was like the most offensive thing that you did during practice to give you any sort of like idea.
That was the most offensive. The Discord sound.
Like offensive in the sense of like that. Like that was like the like you know what I mean? But like not like offensive of like wow you
But yeah,
shouldn't have said
yeah,
that. But like that was like the worst
yeah,
thing you did during practice.
I see. That's so interesting. Huh.
That's in my opinion.
I
Like
see.
a lot of people that I've talked to have had very has thought. Okay, let me rephrase this because I did hear somebody insult the Cash Cash remix, and I wanted to fight them, but
For
uh,
sure. Yeah.
they no this their insult was not fair. It was unwarranted, and it was one might even say disgusting. Um,
Yeah. What
but
was it?
like everyone who was in that dance thought that you did a very good job. 10 out of 10 would
Neat.
do again.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for conveying this to me.
But that does bring up the question. I'm curious. How did you choose the dance that you would teach?
Um, like I have like a playlist of songs that I really like. Like not songs. Like occasionally I'd go on long binges of 1 million like the dance studio. I watch their videos like all day, and then sometimes like certain dances are like were like really stood out and they really resonated with me, and those dances I saved. So then like at the end of the day, like after like a several months or like a year, I'd have like a playlist of really like my favorites, like the best of the best, my favorite curated list of dances.
Yeah.
So at the time, like when I wanted to choose a dance, I'd look through those dances that made me feel the most like I wanted to dance. Like, the dances like certain dances that you listen to and you watch make you want to like get up from your seat and start dancing too, right? So I narrowed it down to um Treasure Cash Cash remix and Finesse. And I believe I showed it to you. I know I showed it to you. Like I was like, which one? I think I showed it to you and to right and to
I could tell you where you showed
um.
it to us.
Was it a boba place?
It was in Fengshan in Chinatown. Well, actually, you showed me when we were walking from the restaurant that we were eating at that was like next to Fengshan.
Oh
Not Fengshan. It
yeah, I
was
think I know that.
Moke Tea. My bad.
Oh, okay. Yep, I freaking knew it. It's always a boba shop. But yeah, like that's why I showed you guys those two songs because like those are the songs that made me want to dance the most.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you have a different criteria for how you choose your dances?
I think by the time, uh, I think for me, it's just like which dance is the most fun, which is I guess in a similar vein as yours.
Most fun,
Yeah,
like the most fun to
to do.
okay, like fun to like okay.
Do you need like a
Kind of hard to
clarifying?
wrap my head around it. Yeah, like huh?
Do you
What?
need like clarifying?
I am yeah, I'm trying to figure it out like what exactly you mean by fun. But like it looks fun, like
Yeah,
the moves are really like unique and like they look
kind of.
really flowy or like
I don't know. I think in terms of, I remember joking about this that like my um, preferred dance style within basic was like vibey fun,
mm,
which isn't that doesn't really help, I guess. But
I think I know what you mean. Like Trust Fund Baby was like that, right? It was like
yeah,
very bouncy, it was very
it was
high,
it
like
was
kind of high
vibey.
energy, it was very yeah, it was
Yeah,
vibey. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And then I
Okay.
wanted to
This is what you mean by
teach.
fun, yeah.
I think it was Adore You.
Yeah.
And now it's just like that's just a fun dance to do.
Mm. I see. I see.
Like I'm so sad that I wasn't able to teach that dance. But like what
I
happened?
know. I would have done that dance in a heartbeat. So sad. So sad.
Thank you. Um, I I don't know. Like that dance, there's just a lot of fun to do. Like there's nothing to like. It was there's. I know I'm like pulling that the dictionary like describe like a dictionary definition of like using a word and it's like the process of the same word energy. But I don't know. It was just fun.
Mm. Mm.
Like I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It was fun to
The
do.
energy and the dance energy is fun. The
Yeah.
moves are clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Makes
guess like
sense.
another way you could look at it is like how much energy is going to be like how like how fun would this be to do in a group of people?
Mm.
That's
Mm.
not very helpful, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it makes it much clearer, but
Sorry.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Like
Yeah.
I think it's kind of hard to explain. Like I choose my Chinese dance because of music. I choose like hip hop, K-pop basic style because for fun,
Right.
for the vibes.
What are the vibes?
Like
Yeah.
I wish I had better ways to explain it, but I don't.
I know what you mean. Yeah. I think I know what you mean. So yeah.
Like Adore You was I mean like okay, like Trust Fund was much more swaggy energy than Adore You was, but they were still both like fun dances in a way that like Treasure was a fun dance. Um
Mm.
I wouldn't consider I wouldn't necessarily consider like Call Me Baby or After School like fun dances, if that makes sense.
I know. Yeah, yeah. It's like I think what you're talking about is just like the atmosphere of it, like the almost like the genre of the song,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just like a very almost like cool, laid back, casual, casual energy,
Yeah.
but with like
Yeah.
happy step kind of energy, right? It's like the energy of the song, is it right?
Yeah.
Boiled down to that.
Yeah. Like Home Run, like the dance like top for that cipher was like a fun,
Mm.
I would consider that like a fun dance.
Yeah, yeah.
But like a lot of the other, like I wouldn't consider Sorry Not Sorry. I thought Sorry Not Sorry was a fun dance, but not because it's a fun dance.
Let me see.
Does that make sense?
It's like fun as in like it would be cool to do, but it's not fun as in like the dance itself is a fun like it's not a type. It's like not like a fun type of dance.
Yeah. I think you and I are
That
both
makes-
kind of like talking around the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. I think
We
we're
get to
just
know we're on the same page.
yeah. We don't. Yeah, we're definitely on the same page. I think.
Like I wish I could explain it better, but I can't.
Oh, the linguistics person, the person for linguistics, trying to figure out the word.
Or it's like I'm trying to figure out a way to describe it without using the word fun, and it's very difficult.
I'm not even gonna try because you know I'm not the person with the linguistics bachelor.
Fair
If
enough.
you can't figure it out, I can't figure it out.
I don't know. It was just like I don't know. Like there was like a dance that you can see like when people do it, they're genuinely having fun.
Mm.
Let me rephrase this. They're like genuinely like enjoying themselves. If you watch like the Adore You video, like the people who like when they're doing facials, they're not doing facials to like do facials. Does that make sense? They're not doing facials because like the facials look extremely natural because they're having fun, not because they're doing a dance that's being filmed.
I see. So that right, right. Because like all the other dances, like they're not having fun. They're miserable.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for the support
they're all
there.
like because you're basically making the claim that like all the other dances they're like They're
No, it's
actually
more
like not
like
enjoying themselves
like
at all.
it's not that
They're
they're
just
not
like
enjoying
throwing stuff
themselves. It's
crazy.
more like it's like they're acting, you know? Like
Uh,
for Call Me Baby, you have to like act cool and swaggy, but not in the fun swaggy kind of way. Like you have to have like
okay.
it's acting.
I know
That's what
what
it
you mean.
comes down
Yeah,
to
yeah.
it. Versus
I
like
just think it's funny the way you described it. It's like,
okay,
yeah, like we're actually having fun. Like us fun dancers, like we're having fun. But those guys, they're like they're not having fun. They're like actively like,
miserable.
yeah,
Or like Panorama, like it was a lot more. It was like acting. Like you had to act cutesy and
yeah,
pretty and whatever. Versus
right.
like Trust Fund or Treasure, the Cash Cash remix. It was like I don't know. I didn't really have to try for the facials as much because it was just like I was having fun. That was the facial that I wanted.
I see.
Like
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's like easier to like get yourself in the mood,
kind
in
of,
my opinion,
or it's
kind
like
of.
like I don't know. There are moments in like the trust fund filming video where it's like I can tell that that some of these people are genuinely having fun.
Mm-mm-mm.
Like at like the vibey part where we're all kind of just like, yeah, whatever. At the end,
Yeah, yeah.
like I don't know for you about you, but I know like some people were just like, oh, like let's just do memes.
Let me think. I mean, but at the end, like it was just like we spun around, and then we ended up in like a crossing your arms, and then it was an end, right?
Yeah, no, I'm
That's the
talking
vibe.
about after the kaching.
Oh, okay. Like yeah, yeah. Like the bouncing around stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Got
Or another example is like when we did Permission to Dance, like the end, like the director was like, okay, you're gonna do the milking the cow, the one with like the walking, then whatever, right? Like those two,
it.
that little like session there. Then there's gonna be like like another like 4 or 8 count like of just doing whatever. And then we're gonna repeat.
Yeah.
And I just like tried to be. That was like probably the most fun part of the dance for me because like and like I can see it during practice videos or filming or whatever. Like it was. We were just like having fun. Like those weren't like facials for to act. Those were facials because we were having fun.
Right. Right.
I feel like I did a very bad job at trying to explain what fun dance
No, no,
meant
it's
without
okay.
using the word fun.
We don't need to like we don't need to like precisely define it. I think we both understand what it means.
Yeah, I guess.
But
I don't
yeah,
know. I
yeah.
just imagine myself as a listener and being like, yeah, thanks a lot for defining a fun dance by using the word fun like 15 times. And then I guess my question is like, how did you like narrow it down? Because I also like had like a really long playlist that I kind of had the same criteria, but
Mm.
it's like how did you whittle it down? Because I know at least like for she looks at a dance and imagines the most idealized version, and then what would be passing for bare minimum, and she tries to find videos for what is considered more of like a recreational bare minimum level, and then figuring that if her dance looked like the bare minimum level that she could find on YouTube.
Oh, I see. That's an interesting way of narrowing it down.
I know I could
I
never.
think it's very detailed.
I know.
Um, I think we did something similar for when me um and I yeah. Anyway, the four of us when we were choosing a dance, it was similar. But when I was choosing my dance for directing it, directing Treasure,
The Cash
it
Cash
was just
remix.
the Cash Cash remix. It was pretty simple. It was just like which one. It was like more of an intuitive thing for me. It was like they were both harder dances, but finesse looked harder. So I just went with Trust One. Not Treasure. That's why I went with Treasure because already they were harder than my current skill level allowed me to do.
You did
Like
so well though.
yeah, thank you. I think I did well just because I drilled it so many times and I practiced it like way before, like during the winter break, which is now. That's the only reason why. Like if I were actually learning it, like I think I would have taken much longer than the rest of the people that I helped teach my dance. But yeah, that's the reason why I chose between the two. Like, it was not too hard to find the two favorite dances that I wanted. Once I found those two, choosing between them was as simple as like which one was more realistic, which was like which one was which one was more realistic, considering they're already like somewhat higher than my level at the current moment. So
I
yeah, that was the way I decided.
Interesting. Interesting. Because like I mean personally I remember being when you were showing me these two dances, be like, hey, which one if I were to theoretically direct, which one would you suggest that I do? And you were like hedging a lot. I remember saying
Yeah.
that I think I probably voted Treasure, I think, just because they were already kind
Mm.
of built in formations, and that was the only reason why I suggested it for that one.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah.
And I guess maybe that's like a difference from pre-COVID basic to post-COVID basic. I think pre-COVID basic, people were just so willing to be like more flexible with formations and stuff. So like if they're doing a cover of a K-pop dance, since we weren't a cover group, they were willing to make different formations that resembled the original formation but weren't a one-for-one recreation. Versus kind of like now, I kind of noticed that there was more of an attempt to go for that one-for-one recreation, even when there are like a lot more people. But
Mm. Let's see.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
interesting. Yeah, I wish I could have tried doing a dance back, like, in a hypothetical world. I would have liked to have tried a dance in the pre-COVID era.
Oh, you would have loved.
Mm.
Actually, I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't have. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I definitely would have wanted to try it out though. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, like you would have liked
But
the
yeah.
dances that did, but then dipped when we joked that dipped when he got a girlfriend, but in reality he switched to comp, and he also got a girlfriend, and that was more of just like
Yeah.
the girlfriend was more of like a thing that coincided, and it wasn't the reason. But we joked that it was because he got a girlfriend, so he ditched basic.
Cody. I'm guessing one of the necktie, what's it called, necktie? The
Suit,
tie dance thing.
suit and tie?
No?
No. That
Suit
was
and
like way
tie.
before our time. That was
Okay.
like 2013.
Oh, okay. Oh, shoot.
Yeah,
Never mind.
and then like had a dance style that his preferred dance style was I think something that you would have enjoyed. It's just that I don't know if you would have vibed with the way that he directed or conducted himself as a person.
As a person?
Yeah.
Oh, insane.
Yeah. I don't
Mm.
know. I think you would have enjoyed pre-COVID basic.
Yeah, yeah. I am curious.
Too bad. Too bad we can't go back in time.
Unfortunate. Unfortunate.
But that should probably wrap up this episode. I'm kind of I'm like we've cut a lot of things because we kind of just like went off record a lot. So I'm wondering how long this episode would actually be. So who knows?
Hmm. How long are they usually?
I try to cut them to about like an hour,
Hmm. I see.
like a regular podcast episode length.
Lots of podcast episodes are really short too.
Well, I guess
And long.
that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, the
But
ones I
yeah.
listen to are about like an hour long.
Oh, I see.
I mean, some of them are definitely going to be shooting under an hour,
Hmm.
but I try not to go over an hour. Is more the point.
I see.
Uh,
Protect your short attention span of the users
I mean,
like
yes
me.
and no. Like if I don't know. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been great talking with you, as usual.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of
Thanks,
course.
Anna. It was great talking to you.
Um,
Obviously.
oh, thank you. Obviously, yes, thank you. Hey guys, it's me. I am off script, and it is March 23rd while I'm recording this. I thought it would be useful to state that, because the conversation I had with Justin, that was specifically December 26th. So it's been a hot minute since I had that conversation with Justin. I did want to say though, even though that he was on a school break when we recorded that, I appreciate it so much that you took the time out of your schedule to have a chat with me, and I appreciate it a lot. I always enjoyed when we talk, so I'm glad that we were able to I was able to record an episode, but also just like converse with you. um, so yeah, I'm off script, and that's for a couple of reasons. For one, mainly, I did not want to write a script, and the reason I don't didn't want to write a script was that when I sit down and write a script, okay, like my mindset is that I need to fill an hour, and if I go over that time significantly, it's okay because then I have content for another episode. So, for example, originally I was planning to talk about the war dance, Sorry Not Sorry, and um, what was the other dance? Trust Fund, yeah, obviously, in one episode, because those were dances that I was really proud of for one reason or another. And like, that was kind of the theme that tied them together. But as I started writing, I had so much to say just about the war dance specifically that once my document starts lagging, I'm thinking, oh, okay, it's time to split this into two. So that's how we got those two episodes. Um, so I'm imagining that if I sit down and with the mindset of, oh, I need to fill 25 minutes of time, 25 minutes of time ish, and not much longer than that. I want to try to be very precise about that timing. I think if I write a script, I will basically be writing a script for a whole last another episode. So we're off script. So as a result, I am probably going to be hemming and hawing a little bit more. I'll try to cut my then with a long pause after that out because no one wants to listen to that. Yeah. So I think I wanted to let you into a little bit of behind the scenes because as we are moving into these next batches of episodes, it's going to be more freshly recorded, let's say, freshly recorded and freshly edited because so I started planning this podcast. I decided, yes, I do want to make this podcast in last November. So I was taking the time in between from basically November 12th ish to December to kind of figure out what I wanted to do with this podcast and kind of like that pre planning stuff and kind of what topics I wanted to write. And then I kind of hemmed and hawed if I wanted to actually go through with it. Um, and then starting in like mid to late December, I started to actually record episodes. And yeah, so I recorded episodes, and originally I was planning to release these episodes every other week, but at the rate that didn't realize I had so much that I wanted to say, and I didn't realize that at the time I just had so much free time to be able to do stuff, to record and to write scripts and to edit and so on and so forth. So we're now on the weekly schedule that we are familiar with, hopefully. I hope there are listeners out there that listen to this regularly. I don't know. But yeah, so I've been trying. So had this really long backup of material, obviously. And I think the last of my backup material, like my reservoir material, I'm not sure what to call it. Um, it is an episode that I had recorded with a really good friend. A friend I've known a lot longer than I've known Serene, which is honestly insane to me. Time is such a that's insane. That's insane. um, Yeah, so we recorded that in, I think, early January when she was in town. Um, yeah, and then after that, it's going to be me talking about more recent stuff, more relevant stuff. Yeah. Some things I want to talk about, but I haven't gotten around to talking about. I said at the outset of this podcast, I do want to talk about some dance media, and I do. Okay, let me think of a way to phrase this properly. I have seen on online that I think that the Dance Moms reunion is coming out soon, and I know there's drama surrounding that. And I do want to cover that because I do want to talk about mental health and physical health and dance at some point. And I think Dance Moms relates to that conversation in the way that, regardless of how the girls are now, the experience that they went through was obviously very unhealthy. And I don't know. I think it's something interesting to talk about because obviously I'm not and I never was dancing at that level of competition. But I think it's a valid conversation to have because while a average recreational dancer's experience is not going to be as hopefully not going to be as toxic or as intense as that. I think that there are some lesser extremes that we can talk about. And yeah. And okay, again, I don't I when I was at work the other day on a lunch break, I looked at some of the what do you call it? I don't wanna say that it's the ratings, but some of the stats, I guess, of the podcast, um, because I hadn't checked that ever, and I was just interested to see, and there were more views than I thought there were gonna be. I know some of those are me because it's isn't narcissistic to say that I listen to myself on my walk, perhaps, but I'm caught up on all my other podcast episodes, so when I walk the dog I wanna listen to something, like, in one ear, and sometimes that has to be me because there's nothing else to listen to. Also, I just wanna get, like, an experience. I want to understand what you, the listener, may be experiencing and, "Oh, how should my volumes be adjusted? Should I be overlaying the music that much?" As you can tell that I have in more recent episodes, I've stopped doing that as much, so on and so forth. And, coming up, because I've been listening to my own episodes, like, once, uh, af after a while after I've edited them, I I think you might see some different editing. Like, I might wanna go back and edit some of those Chinese dance deep dive episodes to include some of the music from those videos because I think that's more interesting to hear. But yeah, long story short, I am going to be when I'm talking about a certain Chinese dance more specifically, I don't really wanna get flagged for, like, K-pop stuff, you know? But for a Chinese dance specifically, if I'm talking about it, I'm gonna try to include some of, the music if I'm talking about it or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of what's coming up, and it's actually really funny. So obviously, I've planned these episodes a long far back, and for the most part, these episodes, it's not really affected by like, my current situation in dance, right? We haven't talked about that in a hot minute, and in the past couple weeks from when I'm recording this, a lot of things have changed. So there is going to be an episode talking about. I'm working on an episode, let's say, talking about my return to dance more in depth and my thoughts of that since I've been back, and as well as the update because there were two in January. There's a big update, and I alluded to that in one of my episodes. And then I was gonna just talk about that. And then a couple weeks ago, there was another major update that would drastically change how that episode would go. And so now you can expect that at some point in April because it not everything's ready yet. I wanted to be a little bit into my new situation more before I made an episode about it. And so yeah, I think there's gonna be more content that's more relevant currently. I know I talked about, for example, the New Year's episode, the Lunar New Year episode. I recorded that for the most part pretty far in advance. And I, when we did that performance, there were some kind of funny things that happened. And then last week we had the Phoenix Wushu Nationals that I danced at, and it was interesting. It was very interesting. So yeah, there were a couple of things that I wanted to talk about that are kind of more relevant to the current situation. But by that point, there has already been an episode recorded and it's fully edited, and it's a lot of work to go back and change it. So here we are. But yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is that there's going to be a lot of changes from my end, which will be interesting to experience, but also I think maybe therapeutic to talk about it here because, I mean, for the most part, I'm pretty anonymous on here, so it's kind of nice. Except for the people, I mean, realistically, though, the people who are listening are probably people who know me. Yeah, and that's another thing I want to address. Up until recently, I think the people who have really only known about this podcast is my family and the people that I've recorded episodes with. For the most part, I've been very quiet about it, and then that changed this past week when I posted it on my Instagram story. So maybe there are more people who I know personally listening to these episodes, and I mean, people who have danced with me, you are being mentioned in these stories. I am trying to I'm trying to save your identity a little bit though, by I'm not using your real name, or if I'm in a conversation with somebody and we say, "Oh, like blah 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 Audrey," and then like Audrey is not in this conversation, so we bleep that name out, right? So yes, you are being mentioned, but your identity is protected. Don't worry, guys. And I do want to say that, I mean, I am talking about a little bit for some of these episodes. For example, when we talked about Hua, I'm talking about sometimes I'm talking about my feelings and how I felt at the time. But I do want to reemphasize that obviously that was a lot of these things that I'm talking about, except for the stuff that's happening recently. It's a long time ago, right? It's a long time ago. I just want to put it out there that while I remember everything very well, very clearly, I don't, for whatever happened, unless you like, I don't know, unless we had an actual falling out, in which case I'm not quite sure why you're listening to the podcast. I'm grateful. I'm super grateful, but like, why would you want to listen to me talk for an hour? Sorry, I think that idea is just funny. But yeah, it's like I obviously, I mean, we're adults. I don't hold it against you. It's a long time ago. We were kids usually in these stories, so who cares? But yeah, actually, speaking of which, if anybody who I haven't reached out to wants to record an episode, I mean, I'm down. It's just a matter of whether our schedules align. um, oh shoot, when I was saying that, I had a thought, but I don't know. Maybe I'll try to, I have like what, 10 minutes left that I need to fill. So maybe I'll try to have this little anecdote. I don't know. Okay, so one thing I've been thinking about recently, and okay, I guess this is not super related to dance, but I just wanted to get it out there. I wanted to complain about it. Okay, TikTok, guys. I am on the platform. I have posted some dance cover videos. It's just me being like, it's just me feeling that itch of wanting to do a style that wasn't, it's not Chinese dance sometimes. And I'm not going to plug it here. But what I do want to complain about, and Instagram does it too, but I think it's a little bit less egregious. Maybe that's because I'm just on Instagram less. But the thing I want to complain about is, okay, let me rephrase this. From a developer's point of view, I understand why oh, here's people that you may know, like that feature. I understand why that's there. As somebody who purposely avoids two specific people on that platform that I know personally, they and one person I just don't vibe with as a human being. We didn't really have. Let me rephrase this. I didn't have good interactions with them. I think their interactions with me were at best neutral. Like it wasn't at worst neutral, kind of a thing. Um, we didn't like. It was if any beef we had, it was definitely one way, and I just I don't want to follow them on that platform because I find myself being a more toxic person when this person's even in my peripheral, right? So I'm just for my own health, I'm avoiding them. And then there's another specific person that I have major beef with and I want to avoid them at all costs because I think they have made some maybe not great decisions. And that's not to say people can't change. It's to say that I don't vibe with this human being and my friends don't necessarily vibe with this human being. And yeah, I know that I mean last time that we were in contact, which was a long time ago at this point, person was very active on that platform and I don't want to I don't want to I don't want to be aware of that person on the digital space because we live in two different states right now, you know? Like, has anybody okay, that's a stupid way to start that question. Like, when you have gone through a breakup that has been really hard on you or or it was a really difficult time, right? We don't I at least don't want to necessarily have a constant reminder of that on my For You page. And that's why I don't want this person. This is why this needs to be this. You may know these people. How about you follow them? This needs to stop because I have said no. I am not interested like multiple times. And these are the only two that just keep on popping up. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Ugh, it's so annoying. But tangent aside, the future of this podcast, I am hoping that we have a couple of more guests. I have a couple of guests I've reached out to, and then January happened, and then New Year's happened, and then we had a family crisis, and then we had the Phoenix Wushu Nationals. Like it's been kind of crazy since January started for me personally, and I reached out to them in like January and they said yes. And then I didn't necessarily follow up. I didn't follow up with them super soon because of everything I was going through. So recently reached out to them again. And for one of them we're both in Arizona, so like we have like gone out to get food together. And it's whatever. It's super cool. And but I haven't talked to her about recording our episode. But yeah, I'm hoping that to have more guests. I really want to have I wanna try to have Serene back on, but I know she's super busy. I mean, I would love to have everybody back on, but I think I love hearing from perspectives are wildly different from my own, and she has a different dance background, and I loved hearing about it, and I wanna hear more about it. That's all there is to it. And I think there are some people actually from a more wushu sphere that I do want to talk about. And listen, I think I want to talk about. I'm not going to just start talk about dance because I know some of them, or at least one of them, or let me rephrase this. Both of the people that I want to talk about, they have done dance, but one wildly negative experience, and another one she did dance for a long time, but then switched over to wushu. And I think those are just very valuable. I think those are valuable experiences because everybody that we talked to have genuinely loved dance. And I think that we can look at the thing that we love to do and enjoy doing, but also like think critically on it and think about oh, maybe these things are not good in this area. And if we're aware of that, that means that we can either engage in behaviors that either don't encourage it or even try to change it if we're in such a position that we're able to, and so on and so forth. So, yeah. And also, I think that they have a very healthy view on competition just because, at least from my experience, that's kind of how wushu has been. It's been a more healthy competition experience than my experience in dance. And I think that's very valuable because they more recently have been in competitions and have experienced that. And it's been a really long time since I've experienced a proper competition environment. Yeah. So, yeah, those are kind of my hopes and also just a complete side ramble for this podcast. Um, yeah, they're coming up in the next few episodes. Let me actually pull up my list of episodes that are happening. Okay, so coming up is we have we're going back to talk about more Chinese dance. We have for sure 3 guests have been recorded already, and then there's one episode talking about my life update, and yeah, then I think from there, actually, it's going to be writing a script and recording it the week before the episode releases. So that's like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 to 5-ish, maybe 6 weeks. So in like May, that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting considering that I will be very interesting considering my personal schedule. So yeah, I mean, this episode is a little bit interesting, and I do have when I record with my guests, obviously, if we say, "Oh, this is off record," I completely cut that and it's gone forever. But if it's a bit of conversation that's like, "Oh, this isn't super relevant," this is not super relevant. I'm just gonna cut it and maybe save it for a later episode. I know that Ellen Pompeo has done that on on one of her podcast episodes where it's kind of snippets of conversation and anecdotes. And depending on how after this recording with this next guest I have, we will see. We will see if we have that. Yeah, sorry. I don't like going off script a lot because it gets to a point where I just don't know what to say. And that thing that I forgot earlier, I still don't remember it. um, yeah, maybe I'll talk. Maybe I don't know. I don't think there are a lot of me off script episodes in the future because I do not like this feeling. I do not think there's anything else I want to say. I think this was just a really long-winded way of me saying trying to of me saying what the future of this podcast is going to look like, and some lots of words to fill that time. So I'm going to end it here. This has been Freestyle Thoughts, a dance podcast, and I hope you join me next week for a proper scripted regular episode.